Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Elliott, and this is the first of a 7-video series for the chakras. So today is root chakra or Muladhara. So we'll do a short 30-minute practice, mainly level 1 today, and I'll kind of weave in some of the chakra philosophy for you. So the color for the root chakra is red, so I've worn that for you today to keep that in mind. And the idea is grounding, so sort of feeling really stable and secure in our bodies and connected to the earth. So I'll be bringing those qualities in as well. And if you think about root chakra, what does it make you think of? It makes you think of growing roots. So a lot of this will be feeling that idea of growing roots into the earth, feeling really strong and stable. We'll be moving towards tree pose, which is a great visual of sort of moving into those roots and allowing them to ground us down into Mother Earth. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's start just by closing the eyes and taking a few moments to notice how you feel. Do you feel grounded? Are you even from the left hip to the right? Do you feel like you might be leaning too far forward or back? Can you find that happy medium? Balancing from sit bone to sit bone. You might be sitting on a blanket as I am. That gave me a little bit more stability. Lift your pubic bone to the navel. Grow tall through your spine and gently drop your chin. I like to imagine here that I'm strong, stable, and steady like a mountain. So I can imagine the whole base of my body grounding down into the earth. And I can imagine the rest of my body growing tall, reaching up towards the sky. Start to notice your breath. And the breath is really what anchors us into the body. And so root chakra is really about connecting with the physical body as it's most closely related to the earth body. We treat ourselves well, we're most likely to treat the earth well. And so the breath is a way that you stay present and tethered into the body. When we feel stressed, we tend to sort of rise up out of the body and disassociate from the body. We disconnect. So feel your body. Take a moment to do a body scan. Do you feel grounded? Do you feel present? Feel the hardwood earth beneath you. And just take a nice full inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. Again, in through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. One more grounding breath in through the nose. Hold this breath at the top. And then this time, exhale slowly through the nose. Let your breath take on its own pattern. And slowly blink the eyes open. Okay, let's find our way to our backs. There'll be one pose today where I use a block. If you've got one, go for it, grab it. Blankets are optional, and I have one pose I think that I'll use a blanket for. So those are always things you can grab. So find your way onto your back. And just have your knees bent for a moment, arms by your sides, palms open, and feel the earth beneath you. So feel the feet rooting into the earth, the back body grounding. So whatever part of you is touching the ground today is going to be your foundation. And think about that foundation like the foundation of a house. We want it to be nice and stable, so the structures above it are nice and even. So from where you are, pull the right knee into your chest. Wrap your hands around the shin and lower the left leg down to the floor. Flex your feet, so dorsey flex. Pull your toes back towards your shins. And you're going to interlace not on the knee necessarily, but slide your hands down to the middle of the right shin. Now as you flex both feet, you might feel the shin muscle lift into the hand. Let's press that shin muscle up into the hands and resist a little bit. So as you're lifting, you're also holding down. So we'll be doing a lot with the lower legs and the ankles today. And this shin muscle actually moves into the arch of the foot. So we're starting to strengthen the arch of the foot, which is important for a solid foundation, is to have strong feet and arches. Now while you're doing that, raise the left leg up. just about an inch. Press through the heel. You may have noticed your low back lost its connection with the mat. So direct your pubic bone to your navel. The low back is flat. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl your forehead up to meet your knee. Just double check that that left leg is nice and neutral. The toes are pointing up. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down. And then you can just gently take the right knee, cross it over the body to the left, and enjoy a nice, simple twist. Slowly come back to center. Pull both knees into your chest. So we all start in this fetal position. So we'll often return to this. We'll bring our attention back to this. This is sort of in the beginning, in the womb. And as we get into the root chakra, it's about reclaiming our roots, going back to the beginning. So flex through the feet, dorsiflex. Press your left shin into your hands. Find your breath. Soften your jaw. And so when we feel stress or they're imaginary, that jaw tenses. And since we're learning to use this for stability to ground, I'll often remind you to relax the jaw, relax the breath, really getting back into the body. The right leg lifts. Press through the heel, pubic bone to navel. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl the forehead to the knee. Just check out that that right leg is still nice and neutral. And then slowly lower down. You can cross the knee over the body to the right. Just enjoying a nice, simple twist. Bring yourself all the way back to center. Pull the knees into your chest, hands under the knees. If it's okay for you, rock forward and back, or however you'd like to come up to seated. Okay, as you come up to seated, let's find our way to hands and knees. When you get to hands and knees, go ahead and plant your palms down underneath your shoulders and the knees underneath your hips. And get nice and rooted. So sometimes we only have the knees on the ground. Really try to press the shins downwards, similar to how we were pressing the shins into the hand a moment ago. And there's sort of this root and rebound. So as you root down into your foundation, you feel yourself rebounding up and away from it. So root down to rise up. From here, lift your chest, reach your tailbone back. And then exhale, round. Press down into the palms as you rebound up out of the back body, just like a Halloween cat. Inhale, the chest pulls forward, reach the tailbone back. Exhale and round. One more. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale as you round. This time come all the way back into child's pose. Big toes can touch. And you might even come to this pose other parts of the practice. So you can always come here. You don't need me for child's pose. But again, think about sort of curling back in on yourself, returning to the beginning. What is the source, the root of our actions? Come back up, hands and knees, and then tuck your right toes under on the mat. So press back through the heel. Get a nice good stretch through the calf. Pull your pubic bone to your navel and press your left shin down. It's sort of essentially what we did on our back. We've just flipped it. And then you're going to raise the right leg to the height of the hip. Sometimes it wants to go high or open up. So you can look back, see that the toes are pointing straight down. You're spinning up from the inner thigh and you're directing the pubic bone to the navel, which may drop the foot a little bit. That's fine. Reach your left arm forward if this is okay. Thumb up like you want to give a handshake. Look at the ground and really press into whatever's on the ground as you reach forward and back. We'll take one more breath. And return, hands and knees. Cat-cow. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round spine. Try to really press into whatever's on the ground. Come to center, tuck the left toes under. Press back through the heel. Root into the right shin, pull your chest forward. And make sure that your wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. You're pressing through all 5 fingers into the inner hand. And then when you're ready, raise the left leg up to the height of the hip. Spin that outer hip down, the inner thigh up. Lift pubic bone to the navel. When and if you're ready, reach the opposite arm forward. Thumb up like you want to give a handshake. Pull the navel in. See if you can feel that balance, that grounding action as you root down. One more breath. And return, hands and knees. Okay, how'd we do? Inhale, lift the heart. This time, tuck the toes under. Keep the hips lifting with you. And move into downward facing dog. The head relaxes. You can pedal the feet out just a little bit more. then shift yourself forward into plank. Top of a push-up, so shoulders are directly over wrists. Drive back through the heels as you lift up through the belly and pull the heart forward. Now you can stay here or come to your knees. Either way, shift forward and go slow to the floor. Elbows hug the body the whole way down. Now when you arrive on your belly, reach back through your toes. Push through your feet until your shins lift up on the mat, or lift up off the mat rather. Elbows hug the body, thumbs are behind the low ribs. Take an inhale, lift your heart, lift your navel, gaze down slightly, and release. So press into the feet, press into the palms. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your navel, low cobra, and release. Press up hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and lift up into downward facing dog. The heels may or may not ground, but let's try to peel our toes up off the mat towards the shins to help us. Let the head relax. See if you can get even weight in the hands and the feet, left to right, front to back. Remember the breath. The breath is what helps to root us into the body, roots us into the present moment. We're going to walk our hands back towards our heels, forward fold at the back of the mat. And then we tend to lean too far back sometimes, so we're going to slide our hands to our shins, and like we did on our back, press the shins forward. Then pull the heart forward as you come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. And you can have a slight bend in your knees. Then soften the knees, fold back in. Hands on shins again. Inhale up halfway. Pull the heart forward. Shift the shins forward, almost till you feel like the toes want to grip or you're going to lose balance. And then soften. One more. Inhale up halfway. Pull the chest forward. Hands on your hips. Elbows to the sky. Lead with your heart. Come on up to stand. Okay. Grab a block if you have one. Place it between the thighs. We're going to stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. So like we had our seated pose, we felt like a mountain, we'll feel that in standing. So hug your thighs firmly into the block. The block gave us sort of this nice hip width distance. Spread the toes, lift them up, lift the inner ankles, outer ankles, firm them in. See how tall you can stand. Reach up through the crown of the head as the fingertips are reaching down towards the earth. So root through the feet, rebound up through the crown. Take a breath here, really hug those thighs in. And then send the arms overhead. You can press the hips back and find chair pose. Just shift the weight back into the heels. Pick up and spread the toes. You can look down and make sure you can see your toes. Spread them wide, lift the navel in. Take a moment here, root down through the heels and rise up, releasing the arms all the way down. Remove the block, set it to the side, and take your feet wide. So from here, let's say about 4 or 5 feet, hands on hips. From deep within the right hip socket, externally rotate your leg to the right, and then kick the back heel back. We want the front heel to intersect the back arch. Sink into the front lunge, stacking knee over ankle, straighten up the leg. Again, sink into your lunge, and straighten it up. All right. Sink in. Third one's a keeper. Stack your knee over your ankle. Feel length on the inner thigh, and then feel strength on the outer thigh. So from the outer knee to the outer hip, pull back into the socket. Firm the left hip in and lengthen the waist up evenly as you open the heart. And just make sure you're not rolling to inner outer arches of the feet, but you're lifting inner and outer arches. Breathe. All right, take your gaze over your right middle finger. When it comes to root chakra, we spend a lot of time in the feet and legs. They're going to sort of help us to stand tall. But really, we're just looking for foundation. So we have these nice wide stances. We're engaging the abdominal, so lifting pubic bone to navel, pulling front ribs in. And we're just learning to find that stability and sense of safety on our feet. So let's lean towards the front of the mat. Elbow rests on thigh, top arm reaches high. Turn the top palm to the front of your mat. Reach it over. Just feel a nice, good side body length. Can you sink in a little deeper? You can rotate the bottom torso away or sort of out from underneath you as the top ribs roll back. Let's take a couple more breaths. Look down, make sure that your knee is stacked over your ankle and your knee is pointing at about the second to third toe. Keep pulling the navel in. I haven't forgotten about you, I know you're still here. And then slowly rise, warrior two again. Straighten up the leg, hands on hips, parallel the right toes in. All right, let's do the other side. So from within the hip socket, externally rotate the left leg. Kick the back heel back, line up front heel with back arch. Sink into your lunge. I like threes, but it's also a nice way to just see, are you stacking or passing the ankle? Can you find that happy medium? Brush the inside of the thigh, lengthen it. Hug that outer hip in. And in fact, hug the other hip in so it brings your torso a little bit more upright. Hips will be slightly rotated, but your shoulders will start to open to the side wall. Arms are out, navel in, find your breath. Now notice what's happening with the feet. Are you rolling to the outside or inside of the feet? Can you root? Good, check it out. Lift the navel, find your breath. All right. Lean towards the back of the mat, elbow to the thigh. Top arm reaches high. Turn the top palm and extend it over. And then find that length through the bottom waist. So move that left armpit up. Move the bottom ribs out from underneath. Find your breath. You can think of root chakra relating to the structure of the body, like the bones, sort of that scaffolding, that structure for the body, giving us our support, our attachment points for the muscles. And then slowly rise back up. Warrior two. Straighten the leg, hands on hips, parallel the toes. Are you starting to feel your legs yet? Hopefully. So shorten your stance just a bit. Turn your toes out, heels are in, bend your knees, and find goddess pose. So it's a nice wide pose. Make sure that, I see a lot of people, they sort of really tuck up their seat or they really drive it underneath. So everything's about Goldilocks here. Find that happy medium where you're just sinking in. You're brushing the inner thighs, hugging the outer hips as before. Arms are up too. I just like to have them in front of me for a little bit of balance. But what we want to feel is that the weight is drawing down and distributing evenly through the feet. And we'll be here a little while, because what I'd like you to notice is there's a moment where you start to go, wait, how long are we going to be here? The energy, the stress rises up, and we have to drop into our breath to remind our body to relax. So it's that whole sort of controlling of the matter of the body, the matter of the mind. When we're very balanced in root chakra, we're grounded, we're healthy, we have healthy boundaries. We have a sense of trust in the world. If we're out of balance, we may have poor boundaries. We may be sluggish, lazy, or lethargic. Maybe we have nervous disorders or anxiety. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. Use your breath. Now you're starting to feel that anxiety rise. All right, one more breath. You did a great job. Slowly come up, hands on hips. Turn the toes in. So if you can get the toes to face forward, hug the outer ankles in. Lift your chest, take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Soften the knees on the way down. Come up halfway, lengthen your spine. Hug the outer hips in. And then when you're ready, lower all the way in. Hands are just wherever you'd like. We're just giving ourselves a nice stretch. Hands on hips. Lead with your heart. Slowly come on. All right, step your feet in. We feel our legs now. I know I do. Okay, so let's find our tree pose and then we'll come down to the ground. So ground through the left leg, pop under the right toes. And if you need a wall, you can always move. Let's externally rotate the right leg. And sometimes we go too far off and our hips rotate. So keep the hips square. firm the right hip in like you firmed in when the block was there in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Find a drishti, something in front of you can use for focus. You can stay here. Or slide the foot to the side of the ankle, or slide up above the knee, nothing on the knee. Press the foot in, hug the hip back. Arms are up to you. Tree pose. So imagine those roots running deep into the earth. Root down, rise up. You might even grow your branches. But remember, there's more roots than there are branches. We have more behind us than we do in front of us often. We can think of sort of this root. Where do those things start? They might start with our family, with our home life. Take another breath. Bring yourself back. Bring the knee in and set it down. All right. Pedal out the feet. Stand on the right leg. Firm the hip in. Externally rotate the left leg. And find everything moving in towards the center. Where's your drishti? Find it. Your focal point. And then you can stay or slide the foot above the ankle or above the knee. Firm it in. Find your breath. Hands are up to you. You can keep them at your heart or grow your branches. Really find that you are rooting down, you are plugging into Mother Earth. Think of anything that grows really tall. Those roots run really deep. Take one more breath. Maybe you grew your branches. All right. Bring it in and lower it down. Pedal out the feet. Okay, nicely done. So find your way to hands and knees. If it's okay for you, tuck the toes under and have a seat on the heels. Give your feet a nice stretch. If this is not okay for you, we're not here that long, so that's okay. So each chakra has an obstacle to overcome, and the obstacle in root chakra is fear. When we have sort of this pending unknown, sort of feeling like we're unsure what's next, that can be very fearful. We can be very afraid of change. So root chakra is sort of telling us that when we don't feel grounded, how can we find that? We can find that by centering ourselves, by sort of moving away those external distractions. And really just getting into the body, getting out of our thoughts, out of the what ifs. Let's paddle the feet out. You can grab your block if you have it, find your way onto your back. Put your block underneath your hips. So lift your hips, slide that block under. Any height you'd like. I like the lowest height to start. And then as you take the feet to the ceiling, just feel all the blood rushing down the legs. Nourishing those legs when we come out of this pose, fresh blood, fresh oxygen to the limbs, especially those lower legs. If you don't have a block, this could always be legs up the wall, but I'm going to change it here. Go ahead and bend your knees. Hold on to your right knee, lower the left leg to the ground, straighten it if you can. And we've sort of come back to where we started. We've just changed our perspective a little bit, having a little bit of a lift. When we feel in stress, real or imaginary, those hip flexors, they engage to protect us. And so as we stretch here, we just give a little bit of a release. We release those muscles that want to protect us. You can stay as you are, or you can lift the leg and just extend it out like we did before, getting a little bit deeper of a stretch. So you can imagine if you are sort of out of balance in root chakra all the time, you're always fearful or not feeling grounded, you're feeling really scattered. We're going to switch sides here. Possibly you might be pretty burned out. Maybe your immune system might be taxing the adrenals. And so if you feel pretty out of balance here, what you might do is really work on sort of reclaiming your adrenal health. You might meditate or find other ways to have Just sort of short periods of calm in your brain and in your body. Maybe you raise that right foot, reach through the heel, find your breath. And then bend your knees, place both feet onto the floor. This might be enough. You might just feel your feet root, make it a gentle stretch through the hip flexors. But I've removed my clips. My head can be on the floor. I'm not looking in any other direction but up. I'm going to root through my feet and hold the edges of the mat, shoulders underneath me, preparing for bridge. Lifting the hips up off the mat. I'm going to hug the inner thighs in towards one another, not so they meet, but as if I had a block still between the thighs. I'm going to direct the tailbone up to the back of the knees. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here, really pushing through the feet. Feel that rooting to rise, root through the feet to rise through the hips. Couple more breaths. I'm going to find that prop from underneath me. If it was there, remove it. Slowly paint the spine down to the ground. Take a moment here. And however you'd like, come up to seated as we finish out our practice. Okay, so as you come up, if you find that the tailbone is rolling underneath you, it makes the most sense to sit on a blanket. That way, we're sort of preparing our back to not ache. So you can sit at the very edge of the blanket, the pelvis tips forward, and it just creates this nice space for you in the legs and in the lower back. So go ahead and grab your blanket if you don't have that. Set yourself up. So again, you're not sitting in the middle of the blanket, more at the edge so you feel like you're folding forward. And then let's go ahead and bend the right knee. So it's kind of like tree pose, this Janu Shirsasana. And let the knee fall open. You've got your block there if you need a little bit of support. Reach the arms up. Inhale, lengthen. Revolve the chest just a little bit towards the left, towards the straight leg, and bring your hands down to the floor. It doesn't matter to me if you reach for that ankle or not. Keep a little bend in the left knee. Pull the chest forward, let the head go. And I like to take the heel on the mat and sort of isometrically drag back. So it's not really going anywhere, but I'm keeping a little bend in my knee because I hyperextend and it keeps that leg a little bit active because we're not fully out of our practice just yet. We're still working. And then lead with the heart. Come up, straighten your right leg, bend your left knee. Take a few moments here. Reach the arms overhead, lift and lengthen, revolve just a little right and fold. Hands on the ground. Pull the chest forward, navel in, find your breath. Again, maybe you're digging the heel into the mat, gently dragging it back. You want to feel that sacrum moving in so you're not tucking or rounding that tailbone underneath in any way. And bring yourself back. Take both legs in front of you. Again, sit at the very edge of the blanket like you're falling off. Flex the feet. I have my feet hip width. It just feels really nice for me. So just like we did the standing pose, Tadasana, let's feel this here. We've just sort of split it in half, but everything's the same. So look at the feet. So see if you can press the big toes forward, pull the pinky toes back. So really dorsiflexing the feet. I have a tiny bend in my knees, you couldn't even tell, but I'm doing that because I tend to lock up my knees. Feel your quads lifting up. So really engage the top thighs. Hands by your sides. Some of you will have long arms like me and a little bend in the elbow. Some of them will be short. That's fine. So wherever you are, root down through the hands. Lift up through the crown. Dandasana. Chin level to the floor. Feel stable and rooted through your backside. Then lift the arms. Soften the knees if you lock them out. Lift the chest. Inhale. And exhale. Forward fold. You can grab the feet or a strap. Or even the floor is fine. We're not here that long. Pull the chest forward. Find length. And continue to fold in. Let the back of the neck be long. Pull the heart forward and breathe. Just a couple of breaths here. Forward folds are very cooling, very calming to the nervous system. And that's really what we're looking for in this whole practice. How do we find a sense of relaxation so we can center and ground and reclaim our roots? Lead with the heart, slowly come up. Bend your knees, shift forward. You might move this blanket to the side. I'm actually going to use it for underneath my knees for Shavasana. I'm going to lower to the floor, hold the knees into the chest. Let's do a little rocking side to side. Then you can take the knees, split them to the armpits, arms inside the knees, reach for the feet or ankles. Find happy baby pose. Soles of the feet facing the ceiling. You can rock a little side to side. Massage out the kidney band, the adrenals. Now very lightly push through the feet. Relax your shoulders. Find your breath. And bring your knees together, nice tight squeeze, returning to Apanasana, this fetal position as it all began. Forehead to knees, breathe, and then slowly lower down. Extend one leg out and then the other. Find Shavasana, your resting pose. Turn the palms open. Let the eyes close. Bring your attention down to the pelvic floor, location of the root chakra. You can imagine this being sort of a red light circling at the base of the spine. We first developed our root chakra as we were developing our physical body. And so anything that has to do with the physical body, the Annamaya kosha, so our skin, our muscles, how we digest our food, how we eliminate, all of these things that are related to the body, our ability to feel safe, secure, present, all of these relate to the root chakra. And you may have felt in your home life growing up, you may not have felt those things, safe, stable, secure. And that's where we start to find our coping mechanisms. So you might revert to those things when you feel unstable now. And so take a few moments and just go back to the root, go back to the root cause of where you began to have those reactions. And in yoga, we learn to be more responsive, less reactive. So notice the reaction. Step back, breathe into it. Nothing to do here. So I recommend that you stay here in Shavasana as long as you feel comfortable. I'm going to make my way out because I'd like to read you a quote. But you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. All foundations rest upon the earth, the universal ground for all that we do. Our bodies are the earth of our spirit, the foundation, the home. To connect with the body is to connect with the earth, to be grounded in the biological reality of existence. Thank you for sharing this practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this short root chakra practice. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll start to move into the hips and get into our sacral chakra, Swadhisthana. See you next time.